Hey team, this video is going to be about the PTB, the new killer and survivor, as well as all the new perks and everything contained therein. So first we're going to go over the killer's perks and their power and talk about them in general, my first impressions and whatnot. So first up, we've got the perks. We've got Hoarder. You protect what little you have and are perceptive to those rummaging through your stockpiles. Receive a loud noise notification when survivors interact with a chest or when they pick up an item within 48 meters of your location. The trial begins with up to 2 additional chests in the environment. The rarity of items found in all chests is decreased. So, after like a bit of testing with this, I don't really see it being very useful. The only thing that I could see it really being good with is maybe Franklin's demise, being that you can see whenever they pick up an item, so you can pretty much drop an item on the ground with Franklin's, and then if you end up going near it, maybe you can see them and then you'll get some info that way. Otherwise, I don't know. It just seems like a really bad perk in general. I don't really know a whole lot of use for this yet. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I really could think of to do anything with on this perk right here. Next up is Oppression. Life has been difficult for you, so you'll make it difficult for others. When you damage a generator, up to 3 other random generators also begin regressing. If the affected generators are being repaired, any survivors repairing them receive a difficult skill check. Oppression has a cooldown of 80 seconds. Well, this perk is actually in a bit of an interesting place. I played a game with Oppression and Surveillance. Well, it was kind of much less a game and more of just kind of like a mess around session with friends, but regardless, Oppression with Surveillance is actually reasonably okay. I think, you know, if you add Pop Goes the Weasel in there for added regression whenever you kick a gen, because honestly, are you going to be kicking a gen, you know, every time you get Pop Goes the Weasel? No. I mean, you might kick a gen at 80 seconds, maybe. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, if Pop Goes the Weasel was a 60-second perk, still, you'd probably get an Oppression proc every time you get Pop, right? Because just how Chase would work. So I think that Oppression could actually be used pretty well with Pop Goes the Weasel to spread out the regression to 3 other generators, but also combined with Surveillance, it actually makes for a rather potent tracking combination that doesn't get taken away whenever Ruin goes with Surveillance. Unfortunately, Oppression does not work with Surge. I wanted to look that up or try that, and I did, and it does not work, which, I mean, I suppose it makes sense. When you damage a generator is different than a generator exploding. So yeah, I think Oppression could work in some very select perk setups on killers that want that little bit of extra tracking. If you wanted to put Surveillance, like say perhaps the Nurse, if you wanted to you know, run Oppression with just run Oppression and Surveillance, then yeah, you've got plenty of tracking then. So I think Oppression can actually be pretty good if you use it right. And next is Coup de Grace, the one perk that everybody's talking about, or well, everybody's memeing about, I suppose. As the end nears, you go in for the kill. Each time a generator is completed, Coup de Grace grows in power. Gain a token. Consume 1 token to increase the distance of your next lunge attack by 100%. This perk is, I don't know. It's very strange. If there was a way to activate these tokens outside of just swinging, I would love this perk. I would use it on a lot of Mouse 1 killers, just because getting that extra lunge range or lunging around a corner around certain tiles that are just too big to lunge around, Coup de Grace would be amazing to work around that. But the problem is it's literally just your next lunge. If you don't attack and 3 gens get done, sure, you get 3 tokens, so your next 3 lunges are going to be really long. But the problem is you could be mid-chase to your first hit, and then coup de grace could, or, you know, a generator could pop, and you suddenly have a coup de grace token. It's like the only way to really stop yourself from using it is you got to get it right up on them and just tap your mouse 1 and you get a hit. Or, you know, you have to obviously use your power, but I mean, who uses their power? Speaking of powers, we can go over that. Blood Bond. That is, you know, our little boy Victor down there. Though forever bound through blood and trauma, the twins have been granted the power to separate from their shared body. Together they hunt as brother and sister, doubling the threat to survivors. Special ability, Blood Bond. Press and hold the power button to unleash Victor. Swap control between Charlotte and Victor by tapping the ability button. While left on his own, Victor will trigger Killer Instinct, revealing to Charlotte the outlines of survivors who are walking or running near him. Survivors who can hear Victor's shrieks are susceptible. However, Victor can be crushed by survivors while Charlotte is being controlled. If crushed, Victor will regrow on Charlotte after some time has passed. Special attack, Pounce. While controlling Victor, hold the ability button to charge a Pounce and tap the attack button to unleash it. Successfully landing a Pounce deals damage to the survivor. If the survivor is at full health, Victor will latch on. While latched on, the survivor will be afflicted with the broken, oblivious, and incapacitated status effects. They will be unable to enter lockers or leave through the exit gate, and the auras of nearby survivors will be revealed. The survivor can crush Victor while he's latched onto them by completing the remove action. If Victor misses his pounce, he is momentarily vulnerable and can be crushed by a survivor. If Victor lands on an obstacle taller than himself, he will be destroyed. Alright, so... I mean... essentially what this is yeah, you become the little guy, right? This is quite an interesting and creative power. After playing with it a few times in a couple of real games, I found it actually quite fun. Just the fact that you move so quickly. You honestly move as fast, if not maybe a little bit faster than a sprint bursting or lithe running survivor, which is kind of nuts. Not to mention, if you look through some of their add-ons, you have moderately increases Victor's speed or slightly increases Victor's speed, and I don't think that modifies the speed too much, but I mean, it's, you know, you can still increase something that's already quite quick. But the common consensus to this is if you want to do a sort of 1-2 punch, you can hit somebody with Charlotte, and then you can use Victor to follow up with a very quick attack, and then that's it. They're just down. I'm sure that there will come out to be other things. I'm not trying to say that I have found the perfect way to use him, but maybe that's a good way, and perhaps that there are better ways. This is honestly the first day or second day of the PTB. It's not going to be the perfect way to play this killer quite yet. That is yet to be seen. So yeah, we can quickly go over a few of the add-ons. Most of them are fairly basic. Like, I think some of the sleepers are going to be actually some of the common add-ons, like this toy sword. Slightly decreases the time to charge a pounce. From what I've seen, it turns the charge time from something that's actually rather long into essentially nothing. Like, you basically can't dodge the pounce attack if the killer has this toy sword. It's actually quite an insane add-on. Moderately decreases the time for Victor to separate from Charlotte. I honestly didn't get to using this one. It's already quite a quick timer, so I don't know if that is going to be necessarily a good add-on. Maybe in certain situations you need to separate quickly, but otherwise I don't think it's going to be necessary. Soured Milk slightly increases the radius of Victor's shrieks. Now this is the brown version of Madeline's glove. Moderately increases the radius of Victor's shrieks. If you remember, While left on his own, Victor will trigger Killer Instinct, revealing to Charlotte the outlines of survivors who are walking or running near him. Survivors who can hear Victor's shrieks are susceptible. So, if the radius of Victor's shrieks is larger from these add-ons, yeah, I mean, bigger Killer Instinct range, which could be potentially interesting if you want to use him as, say, a sort of like landmine of sorts for detection. You know, you throw on both of these and you just like put them in a well-traveled area, and then you suddenly know where the survivors are, which I suppose is not a terribly bad way to use him, but it kind of eliminates or limits the way that the killer can be used, you know, because then it just turns him into a mouse one killer with detection, which is kind of awkward. Cat figurine, this is your pretty basic, like, learning how to play the killer add-on, which I like to see that from behavior. We already went over that. The ceremonial candelabrum slightly increases the time needed for a survivor to crush Victor. I don't think that this increases that much time. Since I only mostly played the killer, I didn't really get a chance to test some of these smaller add-ons from the survivor side. It could possibly have some uses for time waste, combined with some of the other bigger add-ons. So you can keep that one in the back of your head, but by itself, I don't think it's going to be necessarily that useful. Cat's Eye. Victor's shrieks stop when Pounce is fully charged. I'm not sure what this looks like from the survivor's point of view. I do know that from the survivor's point of view that Victor's face glows red, bright red, like his eyes grow blood red whenever his charge is fully active, so that you know when to dodge, which is really good feedback. However, I don't know if this changes just the audible cue or if it actually changes the coloring of his eyes. So that's something to investigate a little bit further on my end. Bloody Black Hood. I think that this is actually a sleeper add-on. In the future, I'm going to have to go over exact times how long this saves you. Slightly decreases the time it takes for Charlotte to be awoken from her dormant state. So I think that there is something to be said about potentially dropping Victor somewhere and then switching back to Charlotte to continue chasing. And this slightly decreases the time it takes for her to be awoken is actually quite good, because, you know, if you drop Victor off mid-chase, you then get control of him just a little bit, or her a little bit faster after you switch back. So I think the Bloody Black Hood is actually, it could be quite good. Baby Teeth. Survivors who remove Victor suffer from the blindness status effect for 15 seconds. Don't know why that would be useful. It's another one of those odd blindness add-ons like Freddy has, like, you know, Huntress has, or whoever else has, where it just makes people blind for like a random amount of time, and the only people it's really good against are people that are benefiting from either kindred or, you know, people who you're slugging, or against, you know, the other people that you're slugging. Maybe object of obsession, maybe. But for 15 seconds, that's pretty pitiful, in my opinion. That's rather low. Maybe if it was like 45 seconds or 60 seconds, that would be a little bit better, but still very limited in its use. I don't think blindness is a terribly strong status effect. So, Weighty Rattle. Survivors who remove Victor suffer from the broken status effect for 20 seconds. This is actually quite good, I think. You put Victor on somebody, they're going to be broken. They obviously can't heal. So you can pretty easily chase them down, and they can't hear you and all that stuff. They can't go into lockers and whatnot. But, you know, if they remove Victor and they're still broken, that means they still can't heal for 20 seconds. You know, that gives you a rather, you know, not a large window, but a decent sized window to catch up to them before they can start healing. Get them into a chase. Stale Biscuit slightly decreases the cooldown of Pounce. I think this one is actually also quite good. I whenever I played a few games of Survivor against this killer, they were consistently using stale biscuit as well as the toy sword. So faster pounces and more often being able to pounce with the cooldown reduction is quite good. I think this might also reduce the window of you being able to stomp or crush the boy, which is also quite nice. Sewer Sludge slightly increases the time it takes for a survivor to remove Victor. I mean, the only interesting part about this is that once the survivor removes Victor, they actually have to stop, right? They can't run all the way through, and then once Victor gets removed, they can, like, continue running. Right when he gets removed, they have to stop and then remove him and then keep moving again. So maybe, you know, you're chasing them down while they're removing it, and then they stop and remove it. I don't know if that's necessarily a bug. It could be. But it could give you that extra second or two to get a little bit closer just before they stop, and then you can get that hit. I don't know. It seems like it might be okay. Otherwise, it's just, you know, like the sloppy, the bloody, dirty blades, whatever they're called, from Legion. It just, you know, slows people down just a little bit. Rusted Needle. Survivors who remove Victor suffer from the hemorrhage status effect until healed. I do like this, considering it is a, you know, it's not a timed one like the teeth here. It's until healed, so that's like Sloppy Butcher. Just pretty nice. I mean, that's just a pretty solid add-on. Of course, Madeline's Scarf, that's the increases Victor's speed, just similar to Forest Stew. So yeah, just, I mean, faster thing gets even faster. Victor's Soldier. If a survivor crushes Victor while he's idle, their aura is revealed for 6 seconds. This is the thing that I'm talking about when I was referring to the Candelabrum. Perhaps you can use the Candelabrum with something like Victor's Soldier in order to delay the survivors while, you know, before they fully crush him. Because obviously if they run up to Victor, you're going to see them with the Killer Instinct, and then you're going to see their aura directly after they crush him. So it's a pretty good amount of detection. Spinning Top moderately increases the time it takes for a survivor to remove Victor. So that's basically the Sewer Sludge, but a little bit better. I mean, yeah, it's gonna take them a little longer. I don't know what the exact number of seconds it is to remove. I don't know what the exact number of seconds this adds. I'm certain that data miners will come out with exact numbers soon. So this might add maybe 1.5 seconds, where this might add 0.5 seconds or something like that, which is, you know, rather insignificant across the board unless you stack them. But I feel like there are definitely better add-ons here. Forest Stew obviously increases Victor's speed, similar to Madeline's Scarf. Drop of Perfume. Survivors within the radius of Victor's shrieking suffer from the Oblivious effect. Which, you know, it's kind of interesting, you know. It's not bad. I mean, obviously if they're within his shrieking, they're gonna know because they're oblivious, and then, you know, they're also going to seek him out and crush him. But you could use it with Madeline's Glove, which increases the radius of Victor's shrieks, and then they'll be oblivious, and then you crush before they crush him. You get there and they won't know because they're oblivious, which is, you know, it's actually not a bad idea, you know. That actually would kind of work a little bit well with the idea I have with a perk build, which I'll show in my gameplay video whenever that comes up. Ultra rares. This is where it gets spicy. Silencing Cloth. Charlotte is granted the undetectable status effect for 12 seconds after waking from her idle state. Now keep in mind that is Charlotte. This is Charlotte. So you could literally toss her down, or toss him down, Victor. I apologize. Sorry, brother. toss Victor down, and then go back to Charlotte. I think I didn't test this one. I tested the pendant, but not the silencing cloth. But toss Victor down, and then go back to the Charlotte, and suddenly you've got 12 seconds of undetectable. That seems really good. It might be a little bit more limited, like it might have an internal cooldown. I'm not sure. I still have to test it. Maybe I'll use it in my gameplay video. We'll see. Iridescent Pendant. If a survivor crushes Victor while he's idle, they suffer from the exposed status effect for 12 seconds. This one's quite interesting because it's very short, right? This assumes that you're going to be able to get there whenever he's crushed, right? So my idea I had with the Iridescent Pendant was to use it with Ceremonial Candelabrum and put him in tiles. And then, like, literally you're in a jungle gym, you toss him in the middle of the area where they are going to try and run through, and they have to crush him in order to get past, or something along those lines, some kind of chokehold or choke area, so that if they want to leave, they have to crush him in order to leave, and then they get exposed, and then you get a free hit. The problem here is, on average, whenever you change from Charlotte to Victor, they can hear that, and then they know that you're this little asshole running around. And they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave the tile. There's not really much for them there. But I mean, obviously, you can just chase them down with Victor if that's the case. Either way, I mean, it's certainly an interesting add-on. I like it. I think there are definitely some uses. Maybe you have to throw on an indoor map or whatnot, and yeah. So yeah, let's jump on over to the survivor side, and we'll look at those perks. Hey everyone. This will be the end of the killer video. I decided I went a bit too long post-recording, and I'm just gonna say thank you guys so much for watching this. These were my first impressions. I split up the killer and the survivor footage. So yeah, I'll get to the survivor footage now. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.